Fran Lab. Because
all about me. All about me.
it's
all about me.
it's
all about me. It's all about me. See you.
all about me. Even though I have actually not ranted at all in recent days or weeks. I've been kind of sticking to the science talk. The my videos linger on YouTube, and the ones where I do rant, they tend to stick around, and so people are still commenting on them about how I should keep my own problems to myself and make people happy. And this actually was going to be the theme of this stream, although I've made it the theme before about what is it that Fran does, what is my job. And I've talked about it before, how it was that I was supposed to do projects and builds and stuff like that, but in the last few years it's changed into being more personal, even though I tried for years to stop making it personal, and I kept walking as far away as I could from personal issues, but then personal issues just come in the lab and won't leave, and it's frustrating because other channels that I watch are just fine, with not talking about what's going on. There are a lot of channels that I watch that are in a very similar boat to me, but they're perfectly happy to keep the song and dance going even while the house is on fire, and I don't get it. I don't know why I've got to be the one to tank my own channel and get rid of subscribers and make people upset and bear the brunt of people's criticism every day in countless comments, emails, messages that I receive on a continuous basis of people who are upset that I am upset. Not upset for me, but upset at me because I'm upset. Because rather than getting on the boat with me and helping to do something about it, they just want me to shut up and make them happy so that they can forget about their problems. It's not all about you, Fran. We have problems too. Why won't you just smile and make me happy, says the man. It's the old song and dance. Why won't you just smile? Is it so much to ask to make me happy? Is it so much to ask? Is that so hard? You've got one job. That's to make us happy. And so I wondered, is that my job? What is my job? I struggle with this. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, because when I follow the critics every single time and I stop doing the personal content and just go to the bench, nobody watches those frickin' videos. There are other channels that just do builds and they do great, but whenever I just do builds, people aren't interested in that, because the people who subscribe to my channel didn't come here for builds. When I was doing builds, I had 12,000 subscribers. And I probably still have, and this is true, I have about 12,000 subscribers who want to watch the projects. And about half of those subscribers do watch the projects. But that doesn't keep a channel this size on the air. That it's like 5% of my audience are here for the builds. It's just the truth. Because if I do a build video, it's not going to get 150,000 views in 2 days. It never has happened. Never will happen. There aren't that many people in the world that are interested in a Fran build. Maybe 5,000 views on a build video. But it's the rants that everybody came to this channel for. Technically, really, if I go by subscribers, those, I don't know, what's my subscriber count? 200 and blah, 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 75, 60, I don't know. Keep losing subscribers. But it's like not quite 300,000 subscribers. Out of all that, maybe 12, 15,000 subscribers that came here for builds. That's the mathematical truth of it. So, but it's those build people that are always busting my chops. They're the most vocal. You know, it's those small number. You could say that 5,000 people is a small number, but compared to 275,000, yeah, it's a small number of 275. The other 270,000 want it to be personal. So who do you work for? Who do you work for? Who's your boss? Well, for me, the reality is that I work for the patrons. The patrons are my boss. The patrons are my manager. They are the owner of the channel. They pay for everything. So yeah, the patrons are my boss. So I listen to my patrons first. But even amongst my patrons, it's divided because a lot of my patrons are here from the build days, you know. And so I've got a very loyal, hardcore patronage that really wants to build. So that's why I got to keep it alive. I can't just clear out the lab and make this into like some YouTube set with some IKEA furniture in it and a big open space and me sitting in the middle of it, and I got a camera over here that's showing me from the side as I'm talking facing this way to make it seem super important as the camera angle cuts back and forth. No, this isn't going to be one of those channels. And I'm not going to have a teleprompter, and it's not going to be scripted. And I'm not going to have a staff of fact checkers with AI bots and an earpiece in my ear giving me all the facts in a continuous stream so I can just rifle off figures to you like I'm a genius or something. That's not going to happen here. What is my job? I think really it's to be both, but that's really what's making this job so hard, because where I want to just do projects and go over to the factory when it's not 100 degrees and do my little things that I do. You know, I want so desperately to be like an Adam Savage type channel, but it's just not possible. Yeah, it's just not possible. I don't have the luxury and privilege of being in a position where I can just make the happy content and be in my little cave doing my little happy things and showing it to you and showing you how happy my life is, because it's not that way. It's like my life is falling apart. You know, in the background, it's visits to the doctors, tests, dealing with the hospital, trying to get off medication, trying to get on medication, trying to deal with side effects of medication, trying to get enough exercise, trying to get my nutrition, dealing with all that, and of course all the hate mail that's waiting for me every day, and all the snarky comments and all the criticism that I gotta absorb it like a whatever, so that I can smile and be happy for the camera. Yeah, contrary to my critics, I don't actually talk about all of the problems in my life. I actually don't really talk about any of them at all, which is weird considering how much people say I complain about things. I really don't talk about my personal problems at all. Very rarely. I did a video that I shot like 6 months ago that I aired only a couple weeks ago where I talked about personal problems. And that was one this year. But despite all the criticism that I'm just too whiny and mopey, it's really not personal. Maybe it should be more personal. Maybe I should make a couple videos a week talking about all the problems that I'm working on that have nothing to do with my work. But then this really would be a super downer channel. You know, but the fact that I even have to say something like that is the fact that people just don't understand how hard life is right now for a person like me. And by saying a person like me, I probably mean that on a good half dozen fronts. Health-wise, social-wise, government-wise, interfering with everything on that side, financial and work-wise and location-wise, with drama in the city that's got nothing to do with me, drama in the building that's got nothing to do with me. There was a disaster in this building 2 weeks ago that almost, by virtue of 20 feet, did not destroy the lab. And I'm still spinning around for that. It's like, well, I can't talk about it. But you know, when you escape being completely wiped out by a complete random act that's got nothing to do with you, and has nothing to do with how well prepared you are, and affected, 30 other people within a stone's throw, it gives you pause. But, I'm fine. The lab's fine. But it almost ceased to exist. But there are so many maniacal, crazy pressures on me that I can barely think straight. Trying to jostle my medication, because I've been on, this is personal, the medication that I've been on for almost 2 years to control my tachycardia is like, it's dropped my resting heart rate is 48 on average, sometimes 45, 48. Which you may say, wow, friend, that's great. It's great for stress, physiologically. But if your resting heart rate is always in the 40s, especially if it's been years, it begins to create all kinds of problems. So I'm trying to deal with this, but unfortunately, the specialists that I really need to see, they're just really not in the region. I have such a very peculiar, specialized problem that I don't know, I'd probably have to go to New York or something to see someone about it. I've exhausted all of my local resources for specialists. It's like having to do my job with a 100-pound weight on my back. It has pulled down everything. It's just, I'm under so much weight. It's so hard. It requires such overwhelming psychological force to do things, because the medication is suppressing everything, suppressing my drive, my will to do things. It's just an immense, unshakable weight on top of me all the time. I'm desperately trying to get off this medication, but of course, if I just stop taking it, I'll die, and there's nobody who can tell me how to not be on it. And of course, talking about this, I'm going to have people telling me that I've got to be eating these mushrooms and taking this tea, and obviously my diet is terrible, and obviously, Frank, you're eating crappy food, and if you only had my diet, you'd be in perfect health because I'm in perfect health. You see, that is the universal reality of me. Friend, if only you were doing what I'm doing, you would be fine because I am fine. The things happening to you wouldn't be happening to you if you were me. Well, yes, you see, that's right. If I were you, the things happening to me wouldn't be happening to me. The things that are happening to you would be happening to me because I'd be you. But everybody is armchair quarterbacking my life for me and always sending me advice and always saying that they're trying to be helpful with their creative criticism and everything, and no one has a fucking clue what they're talking about because no one understands or has the slightest idea of what I actually deal with at all. Because I never talk about personal stuff, as personal as this channel seems to be. I don't. As evidence of the fact that everything that I've said in the last 20 minutes you didn't know about because you don't know what's going on in my life. Nobody does. Because I don't talk about it. And yet everybody's trying to be at the helm of my life, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, telling me what I'm doing wrong, telling me that if I only acted like them, if I only lived like them, that my problems would be over because I'm making bad decisions, because I'm not taking responsibility for this or that, or stop moping and just do what you got to do. That's what I do. That's what any real working person does. Yeah, no, No, because what are you doing? How much are you drinking? What drugs are you taking to deal with your life that I'm not doing? You know? So I struggle with this because everybody has what is it called? Theory of mind, which is a terrible title for what it is, but like theory of mind is a terrible name for the concept that others have a different experience, perspective in life than you. That your experience of life in all of its manifest facets is not translatable. You can't project it onto other people and have it be true. That every single other person, their perspective is not yours. They have their own lives. They're probably the way that they feel pain or the way that they see color is probably different than you. But we have this idea that everything in the world and everyone in the world can be viewed through our own lens and experience. And it is that the lack of a theory of mind, I think I'm applying that correctly, that makes it so that people always want to give advice about how other people can solve their seemingly petty and easy problems if only you would do what I do for my problems, which has to be bigger than yours. Damn, friend, come on, we all struggle. There we go, this is what I'm talking about. Theory of mind. We all struggle. Yes, this is the thing. You think your problems are overwhelming. You don't have my wife. You don't have my kids. You don't have my job. I would kill to have your job. I would kill to have your life. Oh yeah, it's yours. There you go. You have it. Congratulations, you now have my life. If anybody on this frickin' planet would even know what that would imply. I'm crazy for continuing to do all this. That's the crazy part. Then stop. Then just stop. Yeah. Does everyone agree with him? Does everyone want me to stop? Chime into the chat. If everybody in the chat says, Fran, just stop everything, go off the air, we don't want to hear from you again. If everybody in the chat says that, that's what I'll do. Interesting, the poll. Fran should just stop whining about her own stupid problems and make us happy. Surprisingly, 15% are saying yes. Well, now, so that would, well, that would go along sort of with my statistic at the beginning, where I said that the hardcore audience that were here for the builds, that a lot of them are still around, but they represent a small percentage of my overall subscribership. So this kind of reflects that, because I said that the most of the people that come to my channel are not coming here for the builds, they're coming here for the rants. That's how I built my channel. If I didn't ever do rants, I would basically have like 15,000 subscribers, maybe 30. But I think that the poll is reflecting the builds versus non-builds crowd. 195 votes, so like close to 30 people said that I should stop whining. 160 some odd people said that I should not stop whining. The Democratic vote says that I should continue to whine. And so I'll continue to whine, and the 15% will continue to email me telling me how dissatisfied they are and how disappointed they are and how pathetic I am. And then, of course, I'll be reading all those comments and emails and helpful suggestions and feeling even worse. Just do what you want to, it's your channel. Well, I keep trying to tell people that, but they are not having any of that. Thought it was my channel and could do whatever I want with it. But when I saw that Andy Kaufman documentary at the Philomoka a few months ago, well, there's actually two, I was going to say the most recent one, but there's actually two came out this year. But one of them had this point here where towards the end of Andy Kaufman's life, he's really divided his audience because the last few years of his life, when he was before he got sick, he was doing all kinds of really crazy things. He became a wrestling bad guy, which was like a lifelong dream of his. He spent his life admiring wrestling, and he grew up as a kid watching wrestling on television in New York, and he wanted to be in the world of wrestling so bad, and he didn't have the ability physically. He didn't have the ability to compete with real wrestlers, so he knew the only way that he could be in the wrestling world was to be a villain, and he made himself into the most obnoxious character possible, like the Hollywood guy that everybody could hate. And because Andy Kaufman's life was performance art, even people closest to him could not tell when he was goofing around or being serious. Maybe he never was serious, or maybe he always was serious. That's the Man on the Moon conundrum about Andy Kaufman. But towards the end there, when he's talking with his manager, there's some conversation where his manager's berating him that he's making his job impossible. He says, you're alienating your whole audience. You're doing this wrestling thing. You're making everybody hate you, and I can't get work for you. Why are you doing this? And he says, if you can destroy your own life, then you have control. And that, more than anything else in that whole film, has stuck with me. I thought, well, is that what I'm doing to my life's work? Is Fran Lab the culmination of my life's work? And am I destroying everything that I've built just because I can? I know other people in my position are not. And it's been very frustrating for me to see other people in a very similar position to mine not affect their own personal audience or their own personal career by being outspoken about things that are affecting them, that are going on, that they certainly have just as much, or if not much more, of a platform than I do to say something about it, and they're not. So am I the sucker destroying my own career and destroying my own livelihood and getting rid of patronage and getting rid of advertising on my channel and pushing away my audience for the sake of trying to make people aware of the fact that terrible things are going on, whilst other people who are similarly affected say nothing, do nothing, just act like everything's normal. And the 15% of people that criticize me applaud those channels for not going there. Am I just blowing it up because I can? See, I'm the outlier because I always lived my life believing that you don't just fight the fights that you can win. You fight the fights that need to be fought. Crazy me. Sorry that I can't make you smile and do the song and dance and entertain you. My pants are on fire. In the lab. That's where I work. In the lab. Go berserk. In my lab. That's where I work. you're watching. Friend love, it's what I'm doing. Working at the bench again. I'm Fran.